Hi, my name is Rachel and you're watching the Rachelistic channel. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to my new series on this channel called NeuroSpicy Stories with Rachel. And now it's time for NeuroSpicy Stories with Rachel, the part of the show where Rachel comes out and tells a NeuroSpicy story. Shout out to all my VeggieTales fans. So I wanted to start this series to share what neurodiversity or a neurodivergent person might look like in everyday life. Since I've started my diagnosis journey with autism, and since I've been just kind of reading more about autism and ADHD and for all these videos for my channel and stuff, I've been thinking a lot more about like my life, I guess. And I've thought of many like things that I've done or like experiences that I had that make a lot more sense through a neurodivergent lens. It makes more sense why I did things or like why I reacted to certain things that way through a neurodivergent lens. So I thought it would be fun to share some of these stories. My main goal for this series is to help people just understand neurodiversity just a little bit better. I'm hoping that by sharing these stories, people will be able to kind of see what neurodivergent person may look like and like not be so quick to judge other people who are different from them, but maybe they will remember a story that I've said and be like, oh, maybe this person is neurodivergent from that story that Rachel said, because they're kind of like acting like her right now. I don't know. But I think that like when you share your stories or like your life stories or whatever, it can help people kind of understand you better and be more accepting of people different than them. So that's kind of my goal with these NeuroSpicy stories. So without further ado, the time I tried something different and hated it. So this story takes place in 2005 in Quebec, Canada, when I was in kindergarten. So I was 6 years old, I think, when this story happened. So in my kindergarten class, every day there was free time, I guess, an option for free time. And so there were different like activities and like station type things that we could play at, or like different activities that we could do. Certain stations had a limited number of kids that could be there at a time just because there wasn't like space for more than a certain number of kids to be there. So in my classroom, the most popular station that everybody always wanted to be at was what we called the house. Now, I'm pretty sure that there wasn't like a playhouse in our kindergarten classroom. What I'm thinking it was more of like a play kitchen type of a situation, but honestly, I don't remember it that well. But I do know that we would call it the house and that everybody wanted to play in the house. But there was a limit to how many kids could be in there at a time. I think it was like maybe like 4 kids at a time that could be there. So typically how it would work with choosing what we wanted to do, we would be sitting in a circle and then the teacher would go around the circle asking us what we wanted to do. And so it was always a fight for who wanted to play in the house first and stuff like that. So while all of my other classmates were fighting to play for the house, I, however, never wanted to play in this house. I always chose to draw during free time. I'm not really well, okay, that's a lie. I do know I know why I choose to draw all the time. One, because I knew what to do. I didn't have to like do it with other kids. So there wasn't like rules that I had to follow from other kids or like trying to like understand what they wanted to play or like, you know, things like that. Like it was just, I could do it by myself. I could draw whatever I wanted and it was nice. It was calm. Sometimes I was with my friend, but most of the time I feel like I was probably just drawing alone and it was great. I enjoyed it and it very quickly became my routine to do drawing every day during free time. So every day without fail, I would choose drawing as my activity for free time. And it's funny because when I was just writing up my notes for this, I was remembering that the other kids in my class thought that it was weird that I was choosing the same thing all the time. I remember sometimes kids would be like, "Why are you always wanting to draw every day?" Or like, "Why do you always choose the same thing?" But like, I don't know. I don't remember what I would say to that, or my teacher would reply or something. But I just, I just like doing the same thing every day. I was very happy doing the same thing every single day. Sometimes when I think back on this, I think that my kindergarten teacher probably thought that the reason I chose drawing every day was because that was something that I knew how to say in French. Because obviously I was in Quebec, so the school that I went to was all French, but French isn't my first language. So in kindergarten, I didn't know a lot of French. And so she probably thought that it was one of the few things that I knew how to say in French, so that's why I would say it every day. But no, it's just because it was my routine and that's what I wanted to do. So I actually found some like pictures that I drew in kindergarten, so I'm gonna put them here so you can see what my drawing was like. It's kind of funny though, because like you would think from me drawing every day in kindergarten that like I'm like still drawing now and like an amazing artist. That's not the case. I don't draw anymore. I don't remember the last time I drew a picture for fun, so don't expect me to be like a great artist now because I'm not. I definitely thought I was great at drawing when I was in kindergarten though, so yeah. For a 6-year-old, I think I did pretty well. So, anyways, moving on. So, in my kindergarten class, when I was in kindergarten, I had one friend, and we're gonna call that one friend Amy. And so, Amy was my one friend. I was very happy having one friend in kindergarten. I did not feel the need to have any more friends than Amy. And I always wanted to do everything with Amy all the time. So, yes, I actually have another story about like my kindergarten friendships, which is a story for another time. But for right now, what you need to know about Amy was that she was my like one friend in kindergarten, and I always liked doing things with her all the time. It's actually kind of funny because as I was doing this story, I was just thinking about it, and I was a very like consistent in kindergarten. If you were in my kindergarten class, there was two things that you knew that I was going to do all the time. One, I was always going to pick drawing for free during free time. And two, if I ever had to pick a partner for something, I was going to pick Amy. Like, it was always Amy. If I couldn't pick Amy, I would be upset about it. So, yes. It's kind of funny, but yes, I was very, very consistent in kindergarten with that. So, anyways, so one day in kindergarten, the one fateful day, so Amy and some other kids, I think, that sat at our table. From what I can remember, I'm pretty sure it's the kids that sat at my table. It was me, Amy, and two other boys. And they all wanted to play in the house that day for free time. And they wanted me to join them because the limit was like 4 kids, I'm pretty sure. And so they wanted to be the ones to play in the house that day. And so, they were organizing so that they could be the ones to play in the house that day. It's kind of funny. Honestly, it's kind of funny the things that 5 and 6-year-olds will do to get what they want. When you watch shows like Survivor and stuff, when people are like forming alliances and stuff, that starts in kindergarten, okay? People being able to form alliances like that definitely starts in kindergarten because I swear the kids in my kindergarten class were forming alliances and doing organizing things to be able to play in the house. Like, that is how popular playing in the house was. I'm not even blowing it out of proportion. Like, I'm actually being 100% serious. Like, it was definitely like that in my kindergarten class. Like, kids were forming alliances and organizing to play in this house. Anyways, that day, the kids at my table decided to form an alliance so that they could play in the house and they wanted me to join. I didn't want to play in the house. I never wanted to play in the house, ever. I never had any desire to play in that house, ever. But because my friend Amy was asking me, and she really wanted to do it, and I always wanted to do things with Amy. I felt pressured to do it. I think that was my first, or one of my first experiences with peer pressure, because I really didn't want to play in the house, but because my friend wanted to do it and they were asking me and stuff, I gave in to it and it said yes. But yeah, I never had any desire to play in the house. The reason why I never wanted to play in the house was because, one, it wasn't a part of my routine, obviously. And two, whenever the kids played in that house, they were out of control. Okay, I don't know how my teacher let it go like that every single day, but they without fail went out of control every single day in that house. They were screaming, running in and out, making a huge mess. Like, it was like that every single day in the house. And I was like, no, thank you. I don't want to be a part of that. I didn't like loud noises. I still don't like loud noises. I am hypersensitive to noise. So at 5 and 6 years old, that was not appealing to me whatsoever. So yes, but for some reason I decided that I was going to play in the house that day because my friend wanted to. Ay, ay, ay. Honestly, because the kids really were out of control in the house. I don't know how my teacher let it get like that though. Like, I honestly don't. Maybe I'm seeing it as worse than what it actually was because I'm hypersensitive to sound. But like, if it was my classroom, I would have been like, nobody gets to play in the house until y'all learn how to like get under control in this house, because you can't be screaming and throwing things around every single day. That's unacceptable. Like, I don't know how my teacher let that happen every day, but whatever. Anyways, so back to the story. So I actually remember feeling really weird about saying that I wanted to play in the house that day when my teacher was going around the circle asking us what we wanted to do, because it's like it was out of my normal routine and it was like already making me feel uncomfortable just saying that I was going to do something different. That is a sign that it wasn't going to end well. That was the first sign that it wasn't going to end well. The fact that I felt uncomfortable just saying that I was going to do something different, that is a sign, my friends. That is a sign. So the time comes to, it's free time. We're playing in this house. And you know what's funny? I don't remember what the game was that we were playing in this house. I don't remember what this house even looked like, what the toys were that were inside of this house. I don't remember it. But what I do remember, the one thing that I remember from that house is me. It's really not funny. If you really think about it, it's not funny, but it's kind of funny. What I do remember is me standing to one side, frozen, squished up to myself in one side, frozen in place, not moving, just kind of zoned out, while the other kids are just screaming and doing what they always do in this house, screaming, making a mess, running in and out. And I'm just standing there, just frozen, just kind of zoned out, like just absolutely miserable. It's kind of funny, but it's actually really not, because because looking back at it now, I realize that I had shut down. I was literally in a shutdown in the house because obviously I was out of my normal routine. So that was already uncomfortable for me. And so that, on top of being in like this super loud space with these kids screaming, it was a sensory overload for me. On top of being outside of my normal routine, it was a recipe for a shutdown. And that is exactly what happened. I was shut down at that moment because I didn't do anything in the house. I don't remember anything. I really don't remember anything about it other than just standing there frozen while these kids were screaming and doing the most. So, yes, it was not a fun experience for me at all. yeah, I think it's safe to say that I never played in that house ever again after that. I definitely continue to draw, and I didn't play in the house ever again because that was a terrible experience for me. So that is the end of my story, I guess. I don't remember anything else that happened that day. I don't remember the aftermath of the house or anything. I just all I remember is just standing there and shut down. So, yes, this is why autistic people love their routines, because if we don't do our routines, then we're miserable. So, at the end of my stories, I want to highlight some of the traits of neurodiversity, or traits of a neurodivergent person, I guess, that I showed in my story. I just want to highlight the traits so that if maybe you see it in someone else, you're not so quick to judge them and you'll think maybe it's because their brain is different. So, the NeuroSpicy traits for my story are all autism traits. And the first one that I showed was routines and insistence on sameness. So that was me wanting to draw every day. That was my routine. I was very happy to do the same thing every day. When I didn't do the same thing that in the story, it made me very uncomfortable and I was miserable and resulted in me having a shutdown, which is another trait that I share in the story, but we'll get back to that. But yeah, so me wanting to draw every day, that was trait of autism, of having very specific or strict routines and having an insistence on sameness. Another trait that I had in the story was hypersensitivity to sound. So lots of autistic people have sensory sensitivities, and so for me in particular, I have a hypersensitivity to sound. So loud sounds are very overwhelming for me. And so, yes, I didn't like playing in the house in kindergarten because I never wanted to play in the house in kindergarten because it was very loud and that was overwhelming for me sensory wise. So that's why it never appealed to me in the first place. And when I did play in it, it was terrible. So the last trait that I showed in this story was having a shutdown. And so autistic people, if they get very overwhelmed or have a sensory overload or something, they tend to, or are burnt out or something like that. They can tend to either have a meltdown or a shutdown. And so what I had was a shutdown. So I literally was frozen in space. I was not talking, not doing anything, just frozen in place and kind of zoned out. Yeah, if you ever see someone like that, they're just kind of frozen in place, just not talking, not moving, just in a shutdown. They're probably in a shutdown. I just said that, but they might be in a shutdown, and yeah, maybe check on them. If you ever see anybody displaying any of these traits, maybe they're autistic, and don't just write them off as weird or overreacting or something like that, because you never know. So that is my story time on when I tried something different and I hated it. Thank you. I hope that was entertaining or that you learned something. If while you're watching this, you related to my story or you are thinking maybe you're autistic, then I encourage you to learn more about autism, research more about autism. Yeah, I have some videos that I made about autism, specifically about the diagnostic criteria to autism. So if you're interested, then I will link it in the video and put a link in the description so that you can check them out if you want to. So that's it for this video. If you liked it, if you related to it, then please hit the like button. If you have anything that you want to say, if you have any comments or questions or something, then just comment them down below. I love seeing all your guys' comments, so that would be great. And finally, if you like watching my videos, then please subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you know when I post my next video. As always, stay Rachelistic, or whatever your name is istic, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.